Hello and welcome back to 102.9 SLICKS FM. I am back once again with Dave, the Racing Line Ellis. Dave, how are we?
I'm good. I have to ask, where did 102.9 come from? Is this
Like
just
the
a number that
numbers?
you made up, or
Yeah.
or was it
Um, so there is
Grand
a bit
Theft
of
Auto
law.
radio station?
So there is some law to 102.9, and it's just I like the numbers. I mean, that's about as that is kind of it. Well, saying that.
It's
So
not the deepest lore in the world, then.
no. So I like. Are you familiar with The Weekend?
Yes, the band. Yes.
Yes, the musician. Um, Yes. Well, he did an album called Dawn FM, which I quite enjoy.
Okay.
And the whole vibe of the album is it's this sort of radio station in purgatory, which is
Well, that's
a bit
quite
dark,
quite sad. Yeah.
but it's quite
Yeah,
cool.
but
And
but it's quite
there's a
a
little
nice
jingle.
idea.
There's a little
Uh-huh.
jingle, and it's is it 103.5?
Mhm.
So I basically went along the keyboard a little bit either way and just thought what sounds similar but isn't.
It does work quite well. The
Yeah.
2.9. I like that. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Cool.
So that's it
That's fine.
really.
Then I was just wondering because I'm sitting
Yeah.
on this podcast and I don't know where it was named from.
That's about it really.
Should set this up as a guerrilla radio station where we just broadcast it out on an actual radio wave and see who picks it up.
I would enjoy that.
Might
Or I
get
did
feedback.
think maybe. Well, Verstappen's race engineer Lambiase to leave Red Bull. Breaking news.
Is that
That's
what
just
just
come.
buzzed?
That's just buzzed. Yeah, that's just come
Yeah.
through right now. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I read about it this morning. He's joining McLaren, I think it was.
What? When?
Joining McLaren. The going rumor appears to be that he will see out. Well, it's 2027, I think it is. So that means he has to see out the rest of 2026. But presumably, Red Bull will stick him on gardening leave pretty soon because you don't want your head of motorsport or whatever his actual title is to be running for a whole year and then join another team. But the rumor that I read was that Zach Brown will kind of disappear to take care of more of the McLaren road car and sports car side. Andrea Steller will then move up into Zach's position, and GP will move up into Andrea Steller's position because right now there's no place for Andrea Steller to go. He's just kind of stuck there below Zach, isn't he? And obviously that team works quite well. They have proven that they can go from the back to the front and win world championships.
Yeah,
So
they've
the
won a few
position they're
things
in,
recently, haven't they?
yeah, they have. It turns out they're not bad. So that was the rumor that I read this morning, which to me sounds plausible, is maybe the best way of putting it. But yeah, GP to McLaren.
What a traitor.
He's, are you saying this as a Red Bull and Max
Judas.
Verstappen fan?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, well, my heart absolutely bleeds for you then. As a McLaren fan, I'm not completely up on this.
But that just means they're going to get even better, doesn't it?
I'm okay with that. Like,
No.
somebody needs to challenge Mercedes. And as
No,
long
no,
as
we were
it's
having
not
a.
Red Bull, I'm okay with that.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't. I
I'm
didn't.
saying it.
Okay, I didn't realize my co-host had such contrasting views.
That's probably what will make us a good podcast pairing, because if we were both Red Bull fans, we'd just sit here and talk about how great Max Verstappen is until the end of time.
We'd just lick arse all the time, wouldn't we?
Yeah, yeah. We get Christian Horner on as a guest and stuff like that, and because he's not doing much nowadays, so he's got
No,
time.
horny horner.
Yeah, yeah. Which would be a controversial guest. Imagine him as your first guest, Christian Horner.
Don't think morally I could do that.
I don't know. As a Red Bull fan, I don't think you're allowed to have morals, are you?
Do we need to talk about 2021?
Do we need to talk about 2021?
I mean, this isn't. We've not even said what this episode is about, but it isn't 2021.
No,
There is an
no, it
episode there.
isn't.
We could do a full biopic.
Can you imagine if we just ran through the 2021 season? You gave your opinion, I gave my
Race
opinion,
by
and by
race.
the end, and by the end of it, like, we've still not agreed, and we still hold the same opinions because we're not going to change each other's minds at that point. So it'd be
No,
a
I think we
complete
should
waste of our time,
absolutely
but
do
also
that.
great. Oh yeah,
Because
absolutely.
then we'll get to Monza and where else did Silverstone
It's over
and
Jeddah.
and obviously Abu Dhabi.
Jeddah was great. Brazil, because I've never seen driving like that in my life. But Jeddah was great because that was when Michael Massey
Apart from
decided
Max
he was the main character.
2024.
Apart from Max 2024, yeah. We could totally do an entire season on that, but we couldn't have it take over the main show though. That'd have to be a sideshow. That'd have to be like, and we've got ours as a sideshow. We'd need to have another sideshow, which is just us arguing about the 2021 season.
Yeah, well, I do think there is, some people break down albums song by song and make a
Yeah,
full series out of that. I think there's a spin-off where, I mean, it never got aired, but we did a recce episode, didn't we? And it
dead
was going
2011.
to initially start as we go through classic races and
Yeah,
talk about them and sort of go chronologically what was happening at the time and the implications and things like that. And we started with Canada 2011,
yeah.
and it
Probably
was
the
good,
greatest F1 race of all time.
probably. Um, it certainly isn't Abu Dhabi 21, in your opinion. For me, I remember where and when I was during that because
Yeah,
I was still working at Aldi, and I was in this middle management job. It was my shift, and I was sat there, you know, like a kid in class trying to cheat answers between it, on the chair. I had my phone down here, and it was the final lap, and I didn't have volume on, so I didn't hear all the Toto Wolff, Michael Massey bollocks that was going on. All I saw was the final lap with no sound. And it was one of them, the phone wasn't making the sound, so neither was I. So I was like, just in silence, just absolutely having a great time.
I think that's.
Meanwhile, up in Scotland land,
I remember where I was. I was in a flat shit at the time. I was watching it in my bedroom on a very large monitor and really enjoying it until the last lap. And I was like, no way. But I also remember like watching like Brazil 2021 and Jeddah 2021 stick in my mind as well. It's just completely wild races. Arguably, F1 needed something like that, a proper rivalry, not just a title battle, but two drivers who are just not getting along. Kind of like from my childhood, the Hill and Schumacher days or the Senna and Prost days. It needed something like that. I don't completely agree with the way it panned out at the end, but it was great for the sport overall.
I think Lewis deserved to win that race, but Max deserved to win the title.
You see, I kind of I agree. If we'd stopped the season earlier, Max deserved to win the title. But I think towards the end of 2021, he was losing his head a little bit because Brazil was absolutely wild. Jeddah, everybody talks about the greatest qualifying lap of all time, but I'd
That
argue it
never
can't be a
was.
great
Yeah.
qualifying lap because he crashed. Like by definition, that's
It
not
it
only
was
not a
the
good
greatest
qualifying.
lap that never was,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
and during the race, he did all the tricks he could and still couldn't win. So I think if the season was shorter, Max, I would legitimately say Max deserved that title because he was outstanding for a lot of the season. But when
And
it
chat,
came to the end,
clip that.
yeah, clip that little that bit's for the Instagram. But towards the end, I felt like Brazil, Jeddah, Abu Dhabi, Lewis had the legs on him, and the title swung back round a little bit. But we've not really had a title battle like that since. We haven't
No,
had a
I don't
title
count
battle.
last year. Last year was a bit
It's a bit
like
flat.
it was a bit piddly. It's
Yeah, but
we've got a
why?
championship battle at home kind of thing.
Yeah,
And you go, "Oh, mum, I'd love a Domino's." And she goes,
like
"We've got pizza at home."
I
And
did
it's a
really enjoy
freezer
it.
pizza.
It was different. It's a freezer pizza. That's like Huss rice, isn't it? Uh, We've got rice at home. When the Chinese arrives,
Oh,
and that was on
who's rice?
one of the other podcasts I was on. The Chinese forgot to deliver the rice, so they just made rice at home, and you're like, that's not the same. That's Huss rice. You can't have Huss rice. To quote Kevin Bridges, the comedian.
Which is
It's yeah, it was a little bit Huss rice last year, wasn't it? It's like in theory it
Yep,
should have been a lot better than it was, but it felt really restrained from everybody involved. Max felt like he was being dragged kicking and screaming into the title battle. Like he was like, "Oh, I can't be bothered being here." And the McLaren drivers were like, "We better not say anything or we'll get in trouble." And they should have won several races ago and, didn't quite throw it away, but almost threw it away and made some really bad decisions. And it should have been a lot more exciting than it is, but there wasn't the tension there, I feel. And at no point, even when like Oscar went off the boil, you're like, "Oh, Lando's coming. There's tension now," and there, it kind of wasn't there. I don't know. Maybe it was just
No.
managed too well by McLaren. I don't know, but
I've just
yeah,
realised for the last 2 minutes I've been nodding and shaking my head, which doesn't translate well to podcasting.
yeah, but that's because I have a tendency to just not shut up. So like, you got to do something whilst I'm on a monologue.
Well, I'm going to monologue now for a bit because I'm actually 11 minutes and 22 seconds into the recording.
Hmm.
I'm going to introduce today's topic, which is it's a thickos episode
Nice.
for all you dum dums out there. It's WRC for thickos, World Rally Championship.
And that means for 2 episodes in a row, I get to be the sicko, and I'm quite happy about that because I learnt a lot about bikes last time. So let's teach me about rally cars.
I say you learn. We got a lot wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's because we're idiots, and that's part of the fun of a podcast. You don't want to listen to 2 smart people talking about podcasts. That's
no,
boring
no,
because they
it
know their
was
stuff.
complete misinformation. Most of it. I've been told on different occasions by different people that things were just plain wrong, but I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with being wrong. I mean, what's the protocol when we're wrong? Like, it's fine to be wrong. So if somebody corrects us, do we bring it up in the next episode and be like, "Actually, we've got
Nope.
to correct ourselves"? No? Is it just
No, no,
gospel
no,
now?
no, no. Yeah, yeah. What you want a
Cool.
footnote and put patch notes in?
Yeah, I was like, do we talk about the superbikes thing, how it was slightly wrong or completely wrong? I don't know. Like, do we
Well,
address
you've
that, or
said it now.
do we just power on and just
You've
not
said it
acknowledge
now.
our mistakes?
You've publicly said that we didn't know. I say we. I didn't know that there was a difference in electronics packages.
Is that really a huge difference, though?
Because do you know what? I have a mortgage. I don't have. I don't have the capacity to think about these things.
I mean, so okay, we're going to talk about that kind of thing, right? So technically, there is a difference in electronics package. Okay, cool. But if you take a GT3 car from British GT and try and run it in ACO, they also have slightly different electronics. They've also got different sensors. So does that mean it's not a GT3 car? If you take it to IMSA, it's different sensors and packages and BOP again. And if you take it to NOS, it's different again, even though it's the same car. So I would argue that in the spirit of it, we were correct. If you want to get down to bare bones technical regulations, of course we were wrong. It changes all the time, and we're never going to be able to keep up with that.
Potato,
So
potato.
yeah, exactly. So yes, we got the superbikes thing
Is it a
wrong.
superbike? Yes.
Exactly. That's like saying, can you take a GT3 from NLS and run it in IMSA? Technically speaking, no. But realistically,
Also,
yes,
yes.
with a bit of work. So I,
Yes.
I'm justifying this by just saying, yeah, we're just right. Just don't question us. It's fine.
Yeah, I might just turn comments off because no one can possibly leave any feedback that's worth dwelling on.
Yeah, yeah. You know how the end they always say, give us a rating. If we're wrong, just don't, just ignore that bit.
Well, I did say, it's SLICKS FM, also known as the Misinformation Podcast.
Yep, I'm okay with
I
that.
didn't say that on air, but I have now said it on air.
We can
Anyway,
just call it rage bait. That's what they do now, isn't it? When somebody gets something deliberately wrong to bait
Rage
comments.
Bait
Yeah,
FM.
all rage bait.
Thing
Anyway,
is, it wasn't intentionally wrong. It wasn't deliberately wrong to wind somebody up. It's just that I'm an idiot.
yeah, well, we all are, so it's fine.
Yeah. So the intentions were strong, as were the intentions to record this episode half an
That's all
hour
right.
ago.
We've got 45 minutes left. We can get a WRC episode in this.
Right. What do you know about rally, Dave?
The last thing I remember about Raleigh was Tommy Mackinnon, Colin McRae, and Richard Burns, because I'm that old.
You are
And
so old.
I'm so old. I remember when it was on BBC Grandstand live. And I think it had gone just when because we used to have 4 TV channels when I was young, but as
No.
WRC was kind of at its peak, at one point they even did the broadcast well into the night for the RAC rally when it was in Wales, I think. And you had a good well over 100 entries per rally. And I don't know why I remember this, but Martin Brundle entering one year and finishing 40th in his first ever rally, which at that time was actually a really good result because you're in the top third of the field or whatever. That's genuinely kind of the last thing I remember about rally. obviously I've seen many spectacular clips of rally cars, especially in the last couple of years. They've really embraced short form video. Um, and it's spectacular in a way that circuit racing is not. But for whatever reason, I've just not paid attention to it, and I don't know why. So your job today is make me excited about WRC.
Well, we did say, for those who listen to us and apparently listen to it in the wrong order, because what I'm about to say is probably what we're going to discuss in about half an hour's time.
Mhm.
Dave and I were together, not like that, on Tuesday in Silverstone in a hotel. And one thing led to another,
In a hotel
and
together.
in a hotel together, alone. Um, and we were talking about rally and how it's quite clippable in the
Yes.
sense of there are quite cool moments. For example, the first stage of the Monte Carlo rally is run at night, and all the fans are really close to the road, and they're
The
setting off these
flares in the hill.
flares and the
That's
fireworks.
incredible.
Mental,
Yeah.
mental.
Absolutely
Eh,
incredible. Like,
Formula
some
One
of
bosses would lose their shit if that was happening.
I've not really paid attention to Monte Carlo Rally, and I don't know why, because I watched a bunch of clips of it this year, and I'm like, "That is spectacular." I absolutely loved it. The Monte Carlo that's the problem, I don't know who won. I don't know anything about it. I just know I really enjoyed watching all the onboards of the cars going up the hill. Well, yeah, okay, fair
For the
enough.
purpose of the audio listeners, I'm currently doing this.
Y you you're really helping the audio listeners there.
Oliver Solberg one. I was pointing at my magazine cover. So it was his first, it was his debut race as a full-time Toyota driver, and he
Mhm.
won. And it was quite significant because his father, Petter Solberg, um, Monte Carlo Rally was the one that always sort of got away from him. He could never put together a win. So then his son comes and wins on debut. So it's quite a
That's pretty
poetic
cool.
win, which is quite cool.
And am I thinking the Monte Carlo Rally is one of the really long running ones as well? This has been a kinda, a staple on the calendar
Yeah, yeah,
since,
absolutely.
year 1.
It's often the season opener. It's iconic. It's it doesn't get better than Monte Carlo for a season opener. Arguably my favorite rally, maybe up there with Kenya, which we've also had already at the time of recording, because they're just so extreme in terms of conditions and unpredictability and things like that. Um, but there's a lot to rally that people maybe don't know much
Mhm.
about. And from my time with Ollie, I've learned from him about, you obviously in track racing, you understand that qualifying is important because to quote Will Buxton in Drive to Survive, when you qualify on pole position, you start first or whatever it is.
I hope that is the last time we have to quote Will Buxton.
I hope so. Um, Will Buxton, if you're listening, stay away. Um,
If you're listening, don't.
yeah, if you're listening, tune to a different station. Um, so I've lost my train of thought there.
Qualifying.
Yes. So if you win a rally, you then start the next rally in the position that you finished the previous rally.
Mhm.
So if you win at Monte Carlo, the next rally is Sweden, for example, in this case. Oliver was basically telling me, winning Monte Carlo, you basically concede that you're probably not going to win Sweden because of the road position. Because you open the road, you're basically cleaning the road. There's a lot of standing debris that's not been brushed off with tires and things like that. So you're kind of accepting it's very unlikely to win Sweden after winning Monte Carlo.
Does
So
that
there's things
apply
like that.
for every 2 rallies? Like, because there's tarmac rallies, for example. So if
Yeah,
you win, I don't know, Croatia, does that kind of apply that you're probably not going to win the Canaries?
it's probably less severe when it's tarmac to tarmac, but there is an element of cleaning that
Okay.
the road opener is at a bit of a disadvantage. So it ebbs and flows, but Monte Carlo and Sweden are the extreme ends of the scale, for
Okay.
examples.
And I imagine Kenya's kind of up there as well, 'cause Kenya looks absolutely crazy in clips.
Kenya's mental. Yeah, Kenya is a proper car killer.
I did watch, WRC does the highlights the next day of, the rallies, and I really enjoyed Kenya. Again, I can't remember who won. I can't remember anything about it other than this is an incredible spectacle.
Well, what we've got so far in 2026 is we've had 3 rallies and we've had 3 winners.
Mhm.
They've all been Toyota drivers because that's the car you
Oh,
wanna be in.
okay.
Um,
Is there a big
so
differential in the cars? Is it kinda like Formula 1 where the car actually makes quite a large difference and we just don't like to talk about that?
yeah, it does kind of make quite a difference. So we've got 3 manufacturers in the top class of WRC: Toyota, Hyundai, and M Sport Ford.
Okay.
And they typically finish in that order. You know, we've had Hyundai's first world champion we had in 2024
Mhm.
with Thierry Neuville. Um, and he's been in WRC for over a decade at this point, but he's always been the bridesmaid or the runner up to a Toyota or a Volkswagen or what else? Yeah, like Hyundai is always it can win a rally, but it's putting it together over a season that's been difficult. The Toyota just seems to have the edge at most rallies. And then the
Okay.
Ford is, you know, it can occasionally get a podium. So I'd compare a Ford to a Williams or a Racing Bulls, occasionally on the podium, decent points, but not really challenging the top.
Is that
Didn't used
because
to be that way because, Colin McRae and Peter Solberg and all of them used to race with Ford and they were winning, and there was Citroen and there was, Skoda in the top class, Mitsubishi, Subaru. It's all changed in these last few years, and now we're down to just 3 manufacturers, which is a bit of a shame. There's not that variety like there used to be.
why is it dropped off in manufacturers? Are we going through the same thing that we've seen in motorsport historically, where it gets too expensive, manufacturers drop out, and you're kinda left with 1 or 2? Super Touring went through that, Le Mans has been through that multiple times. F1 kinda hasn't, but F1's kinda unique in the motorsport
Yeah,
world, but a lot of
it is
series
pretty
go
much
through
that.
this.
It's
Okay.
manufacturers investing in the sport, and, there's even quite famous stories of, Petter Solberg, for example, won his title with Subaru and stayed with Subaru. But then in 2008, at the end of 2008, Subaru wanted to pull out of WRC, which would have left him without drive. Um, so they fully supported and backed Petter to set up a private team, which he did with Citroen. So it was quite a nice sort of, they weren't just, trying to kill his career. They just personally didn't want to be involved, but they supported Petter to get back onto his feet and basically, and he was the first privateer team to get podiums and have stage wins and things like that. So, uh, quite cool stories come out of rallying, and it feels quite grassroots, even at an international level.
So what does the kinda long-term future look like? Are we? Because am I right in thinking the top class is Rally 1 regulations? Is that so what does the long-term future look like if we've got 3 manufacturers and it's not looking like you're gonna get a 4th? Is Rally 1 gonna stick around, or are we in a MotoGP situation where they're about to do the regulation change? How are they going to improve this? Because 3 manufacturers is not really sustainable.
No, and they've just recently changed regulations. Uh, Last couple of years, they've gone back to full internal combustion engine. They were running a hybrid system. It was at the top end of the revs. You'd save it and regenerative braking and things like that, and it would give you a boost of electrical energy at the top end of your revs if you'd built up enough energy. But it was added weight, and for things like rally cars that you're having to throw around, and it just didn't really suit the sport. So they ditched that a couple of years ago, and now they're back to just full, pure internal combustion engines. They've gone through different tire providers. They're currently with Hankook. They used to be Pirelli. So there are things changing, but in terms of big regulation changes, I am not aware of any, but I am also an idiot. And, I'm not on the pulse with rules and regs. But
No,
yeah,
that's
it seems to be the golden era, seemed to be the late 90s into the 2000s,
and
with all these manufacturers. Then Sebastian Loeb, Peter Solberg, Tommy Mäkinen, Colin McRae, Richard Burns. That era is sort of looked back on quite fondly because there was such a variety in cars as well.
and I'm looking through the calendar, and there's a lot of stuff in here that I recognize, but also a lot of stuff I don't. Like coming from the 90s and early 2000s, like Monte Carlo, cool.
Hmm.
Sweden, cool. Kenya, brilliant. Safari Rally, come back to that one. Croatia, didn't expect that there.
No.
Is Croatia a big rallying country? Is this a relatively new one?
To my knowledge, it's relatively new. It's quite a popular one, and they kind of compare Croatia to a mix of Kenya and Monaco in terms of you can go from real extreme tarmac to quite wet, sort of difficult conditions. So Croatia is quite a unique one, um, because you're not always guaranteed nice weather like you are in Spain or Portugal or Greece and things like that.
Greece is an interesting one because that's one I know again, or the Acropolis Rally. But what I'm looking
Rally
at
of the
here,
Gods.
I'm also seeing Finland, classic, obviously, but I'm also seeing Saudi Arabia, and I'm not seeing Rally GB.
So Saudi Arabia was new last year, so it's quite rare that a brand new rally comes that no one's ever done before. Sometimes it comes and goes. Safari Rally Kenya. We hadn't been there since 2001 or 2002 until 2021. So there was nearly 20 years where we didn't go to Kenya, but we were going to places like Argentina or New Zealand or Australia and things like that. Um, Saudi Arabia is the first time it's ever been on the calendar, and it was one of the more dramatic rallies last year because it was just a complete car killer. Yeah, everyone seemed very unprepared for what Saudi Arabia was going to throw at it. It was basically Kenya 2.0, but in just extreme desert heat and dust conditions and things like that. It was brutal.
See, to me, that's a good thing. That's one of the things that really interests me about rally, and especially Kenya, obviously completely car killer. But to an extent, there's also events like Finland where it's not a car killer, but if you get it wrong, the consequences are massive at the speeds they're doing. So, like,
Yeah.
that actually really interests me. It's got kind of, to me, that's kind of similar to like Paris Dakar vibes,
Mm.
where
Oh yeah, 100%.
there's a lot going on and it's
And
pretty extreme.
it's very extreme, and because of the way rally is set up, you finish a stage and you are often driving on the public roads to the next stage, and there isn't much time, if any, to work on the car, and you're only back at the service park a couple times each day. So if you have a severe suspension issue or a blowout and you've run out of tires, because every crew carries spare tires in the car and things like that, and they're changing tires at the side of the road themselves. It In places like Saudi Arabia where there's so much damage to the cars, you were finding there was a lot of retirements, and it was, the gaps in times were much wider than somewhere like Sweden, where there's still breakdowns and things like that, but it's less physical on the car. It's more down to the driver. And it's the same with Portugal. That's sort of the other end of the scale. Portugal's one of the fastest rallies on the calendar. So
Up there with like
that's,
Finland.
mhm, Portugal's rapid.
Wow.
And you've got that infamous Faith stage where it's got that huge jump and everybody can sort of stand at the bottom of it, and these cars are going flying in the air and things like
Mhm.
that. So yeah, it's a bit like the F1 calendar where you've got drivers' tracks, you've got really
Mhm.
technical rallies, you've got fast rallies, you've got full snow rallies in Sweden, you've got mixed in Finland and Monaco, and then you've got a lot of tarmac rallies. Japan being a very famous one. That was normally the season ender, but now it's sort of mid-pack, mid-season.
So talk to me about Rally GB. Where has that gone? Because to me, that was something that I don't know, that should be on every calendar. That's like removing Silverstone, and I know we've had the
Mm,
threat of that in F1, but, don't write in about that one. It's like, where has Rally GB gone and why?
that's a good question. So Rally GB was a bit of a staple, as you know, and famously where a lot of championships were won or lost because it was often the final round. So Colin McRae, Peter Solberg both won their championships in Wales in Rally
I
GB.
I distinctly remember Carlos Sainz Toyota breaking down on the final stage of Rally GB. What was it called back then? It wasn't actually Rally GB at that point, was it Lombard Rally? Or Network Q?
Oh, now you're
Network Q
testing me.
RAC Rally, that's what it'll be. That's my year. I distinctly remember that, and Rally GB is kind of in my head as a massive event, and I was kind of shocked, probably a couple of years ago now when I looked at it. It's like it doesn't even exist now.
Hmm. It's a shame. We've had it on the ERC calendar, which is the European Rally Championship, and they run Rally 2 spec cars and things like that. And it's where drivers, it's like Formula 2. It's
Yeah.
a gateway series that does fewer rounds. Um, and it's where people like Oliver Solberg and John Armstrong, who are current world rally drivers, have come through to sort of show their worth. Um, and they still have a Wales rally in Aberystwyth. So
Well,
it's not where it used to be when it was Rally GB. It's on the west coast, and then there's also a really cool stage down the seafront. So it exists in some capacity, but not in the World Rally Championship until next year.
yes. So I think I'll be attending my first ever rally event next year. Although that's telling a lie. Does the McRae Rally Challenge count at Knockhill? Suppose it does. It was a rally. It was just, around Knockhill. But I'll
Did
be
you do that
attending my
last year?
first. Yeah, that's where I met Holly McRae, who was absolutely lovely, and Dario Franchitti and John Cleland, who's a legend. But they did a rally stage around Knockhill because Knockhill does have an internal rally section, and you can use the spectator car park as a rally. And there is actually a rally course up there, which is very, very cool. And it means that because it's very compact, you could see a lot from anywhere in the circuit. Like you could stand on the hill in the middle and you could see the entire stage, which is awesome. Absolutely brilliant fun, and probably one of the most fun events I've ever attended motorsport wise. We had this discussion of series that are great to watch on TV are often not great to watch in person, but things that are great to watch in person often don't translate to TV. I don't think that McRae Rally Challenge would have been very good TV viewing, but it was spectacular in person and some of the most fun I've had. Conversely, I really enjoy watching F1, and I went to the Spanish Grand Prix, and I was a bit flat about it. I was like, "I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm experiencing this, but it's not that exciting in person. It's just kind of cool, and then it wears off a little bit." So I'm excited to attend an actual World Rally Championship event because that is coming to my neck of the woods. I say my neck of the woods because I'm using Scotland in a generic term here. It's actually quite far north from me. That will be
You
in
love Aberdeen.
Aberdeenshire.
You love
Nobody
Aberdeen.
nobody loves Aberdeen. I've spent far too long in Aberdeen in my life doing oil and gas. So
What's
I
wrong with
am
Aberdeen? I don't know my Scottish history very well, other
Aberdeen's
than
problem is
Mary.
is it's just grey is Aberdeen's problem because it's a granite city. All the buildings are built from, like, the local granite mined in the local area, and there is the odd occasion where because granite can be kinda shiny, is that you come over the hill into Aberdeen because you kinda crest over a hill in the A90, yeah, A90. You come down the hill and Aberdeen's kind of presented to you. The light's shining just right, it's beautiful. You're like, "Oh, that's really cool." It's kinda reflective and shiny. But Scotland doesn't have the right light most of the time. What we have is grey. And when you've got grey light and everything in the city is grey, it just looks depressing. So, like, it should be better than it is, but it's just got this feel about it where it's like, it's not that great, to be honest. It's also kind of the forgotten city because it's kind of shoved up in the northeast of the country a little bit. By the time you get to Edinburgh, Glasgow, Perth, Dundee, you're like, "Well, it's still another 80 miles or so to Aberdeen. So it's quite far away. But I hear they're going rallying there, and I'm presuming it's not in the city. It's on the outskirts of the city, is what I'm actually presuming. And
Are
I
there
think
some trees
I'm going to go
and
and stand
forests?
in the forest there and
Yeah.
watch the World Rally Cars next year, I think.
And that's the thing. I think, it's all well and good to be in an European Rally Championship stage in the UK, but it just doesn't. It's like having a Formula 2 race run at Silverstone and no F1. It's just not the same.
And I believe they've even called it Rally Scotland, like they did with Wales. And you're like,
Mm.
that's cool. I like that because, like, rather than just calling it Rally GB, there's a Rally Scotland. It's like,
Yeah, because
let's
you
drill
Scots
down a little further.
love to distinguish yourself from us, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're not British. I mean, we
No.
are. People are going to write in very angry about that one. But it's kind of like, I don't know, Canary Islands. Yeah, but it's Spain. Like,
Yeah,
if you go to the top, it's Spain. So I
yeah,
just like the differential of calling it Wales Rally or Wales Rally GB and things like that. It just adds a little bit more personality rather than the British Grand Prix, the German Grand Prix. Like, there's just
yeah,
a little bit
definitely.
more to it, and I like that. So Rally Scotland and Rally GB 2027. So you know more about Rally than me. Are we expecting this to be tacked on to the end of the season again, or is this a one that we expect to be kind of earlier in the season? I don't really want to do Aberdeen in November. Let's put it that way.
I have no idea. Uh,
Cool.
yep. Next question.
It says here stages will be run across surrounding regions in Aberdeenshire and Moray. So we are out in the middle of nowhere, which is the best place for
I
rally.
want Aberdeen in the middle of January.
Oh God. Nobody wants Scotland in the middle of January. It's pretty miserable.
Yeah, but it's
But
miserable all year, no?
yeah, yeah, okay, fair. So gravel
Where
based
would you
event.
place this? Based on 2026's calendar, where would you wanna see Scotland?
It's see, I actually want it at the end of the year. I know I'm saying I don't want to go to Aberdeen in November, but it was great having, as a Brit, having the UK as the title decider because it just generated a bit more interest. And I think we're lacking interest in the UK at the moment in rally. I don't know what the rest of the world is like. I don't know if, like, the Nordics are still huge on it. Eastern Europe is apparently very big into its rally. But the UK has
Huge.
lost it a little bit. So if you want a bit more interest in the UK, tack it on to the end and maybe it'll do something. Maybe it won't. Who am I to judge that? But I think I'll be attending that event just because I've never been to a World Rally Championship event before, and I think it's time.
And you get so much bang for your buck,
Mhm.
because, you get maybe 7, 8 stages a day. So, I mean, it's a lot of travel and you're basically traveling around the country with the rally drivers. I remember being in Wales and I left a stage to get to the next one, and I was following John Armstrong in his Rally 2 Fiesta on the country roads,
That's cool. So,
which
is
is
there, like,
very cool.
set spectator areas that you have to go to? You
Yes.
can't just wander out into the middle of a stage.
So there are set areas, um, you know, you may find a bush that you can crawl through and get a vantage point, but there are spectator zones that
Okay.
are cordoned off, protected, and things like that. Um,
So, because of that, I take it there's set routes that you're meant to take as a spectator from one stage to another. Because obviously a lot of the local, well, not a lot. I suppose if it's gravel, the local roads will be open. But I take it there's recommended ways to get from, like, stage one viewing to stage two viewing.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember there was sometimes 45 minutes to an hour between stages just traveling on the public roads. And the rally drivers themselves are doing that journey on the public
Yeah,
roads. So it's real raw and you really get up close and personal because you could literally be following a rally driver down the road
that's
to
really
the next
cool.
stage, which is really cool. And then when I went, the stage in the town centre ended and they had to basically drive back through the town centre to get to the next stage. So you could just be sat in a shop and a rally car would drive past you, which was very cool.
And that's just completely open public roads between
Yeah.
stage end and stage
Yeah,
start
yeah,
as they have to
yeah,
make their way just like everybody else.
yeah, which is why young drivers, like when Oliver Solberg started, I know I mention Ollie Solberg a lot, but I've
That's
interviewed him.
that's your reference point. So yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
He started rallying when he was 15 in, Latvia because there was a special license that he could get where he could do sprint rallies at age 15, but he couldn't do the road sections to drive, from he couldn't drive from stage to stage, so he'd basically do the rally, swap seats with his co-driver, and then get driven to the next rally where they'd swap back and he'd race it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's kind
I
of like,
love that.
we have F1 drivers now with no driver's license. It's kind of
Yeah.
similar to that.
Yeah. And I can't really imagine any other sport taking the cars on the road between even between sessions, never mind between stages. That's actually kind of crazy. I love
Yeah.
that. That's very raw.
There's a lot of clips, and accidents have happened where a public car has crashed into a rally car traveling to the next stage, and they've bumped into each other on a motorway or things like that. But
Yeah.
you really are just cruising along, and there'll be a fleet of rally cars heading to the next stage.
I love that. That's brilliant. So are you coming up to join me for the Aberdeen rally?
How far would it be for me? I mean, yes is the answer, but
Pity. It's like it's far from me.
let me just get a quick rough Aberdeen
And it
directions.
and it said Moray as well. And I'm like, well, Moray is really far. If we're
5
going in,
hours, 57 minutes.
yeah, it's 3 hours 45 for me to Moray, which is where some of the stages appear to be. If I do Aberdeen,
Maury. How are we spelling Maury?
Moray, Moray,
That's not how you spell Maury, but okay.
you're going
I
to be
was
very
like,
shocked at the stuff that's on our road signs when you come up here.
okay, 6.5 hours.
Yeah, it's 3 hours to me for Aberdeen, and you're
That's
considerably further south.
crazy.
Yeah.
390 miles.
You say 6.5 hours is crazy. Like, that's me going to Brands Hatch and Silverstone and Dorrington Park every weekend.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how you do that though.
4 a.m. alarms is how I do that.
I think you should consider moving closer.
No, I think motorsports should consider coming further north is what they should do. Everybody should do more things at Knockhill and Croft and maybe Alton Park. That's relatively far north-ish.
Alton Park's not too bad for you, no? What, about 3 hours?
I've not actually been to Alton Park yet. I
Have you
really
not? It's
should.
a good track.
No, I should go to that one. I've not been to Croft yet. That's not a good track. But I should probably
I,
go
ha-
there at some point.
I haven't been to Croft either.
Nobody goes to Croft. Just let me have a quick look. Croft is on the A1M on the way down, so I think it's about
There's, there's
3 hours.
nothing more interesting to a white man than
The
motorway names
oh,
and
yeah, the A1M.
junctions.
Oh, 100%. I don't know my junctions yet, but I'm getting to know my roads,
Yeah.
and
Well,
now
you say to
Facebook
your
is
granddad, "Oh, where have you been?" And, "Oh, I went so and so." He went, "Oh, you took the M62, junction 27." I'm like, "Yes, yep, yep."
yeah, and Facebook has learnt that I'm that age and demographic and is now showing me groups of presumably old white men talking about motorways. So I'm just motorway groups. And in a way, it's kind of lovely and wholesome. There's no arguing. It's just lovely photos of motorways. I'm getting
What
very
more do you want?
familiar with them all. I've also
I
got a
watched.
service station one.
Wow,
Yeah,
you
like
really are in a wormhole of boring
the fun thing is I'm not even
beige.
reading them. It's just serving me them goes like, you're 41 now. You should be looking at service
Here's what you
stations.
should be into.
And I have this thing when I drive up and down the country of I pull into a service station and I don't know if I've been there yet. Because
Mm.
I don't know them all. And I just pull in when I need a coffee or go to the bathroom. And I pull in and I go, oh, yeah, I've been to this one before. And I don't know them all. But yeah, Facebook has decided I should be really interested in service
Hey,
stations.
you should start logging them and do like the racing line diaries of service station adventures, and if you had a wimpy in one and a little chef in another, and
A wimpy.
is
Wow.
Wimpy still going?
I didn't realize you were old enough to know what a wimpy is.
Yeah, wimpy in a bowling alley. I used to have a wimpy at like a kid's party. Um, chicken nuggets and chips, and then a bit of 10-pin bowling.
I mean, that sounds like my childhood as well. Maybe you're closer to my generation than I thought.
Yeah. See, we're not that far apart.
No, apparently not, especially if you remember Wimpies and bowling alleys, which are definitely something that don't really exist now.
Well, I watched a video the other day, and it was a fella, looking at why the A1 has so many sex shops.
Yes, I've noticed this. I've not asked anybody that because I don't want to point out to be like, I noticed the sex shops. I don't want to be that guy that brings up the sex shops. So why does it have so many sex shops?
Well, I didn't really get an answer. He just started visiting these seedy, rundown, they're called, like, Pulse and
Yeah, but is there not one that's actually just called A1 Sex Shop?
yes,
Like, fantastic bit of branding because,
great bit
like,
of
it's
Brandon.
incredibly Googleable.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
Like, just absolutely brilliant search engine optimization there.
Yeah, yeah.
But, like, I don't understand why they've all decided the A1, this is the corner of sex shops in the country.
And why not the M1?
B
Is the M1 a bit
clearly,
snooty and a bit upclass?
they're too posh for sex shops, apparently. You've gotta do the A1 for that, that's
Do you
where
prefer the A1
commoners
or the
are.
M1?
I prefer whatever Waze takes me on, to be honest. There's a bit where it
Mm,
splits, and sometimes it goes left, sometimes it goes right, and I've no idea which one it's picking and
you
why.
just
I
follow
just
blindly
go with
like a
it.
sheep,
Yeah, I wish there was a setting to be like, choose the route with less speed cameras. That'd be a good setting, allegedly, you know?
allegedly.
Just yeah, yeah, just in case, you know? I wish there
Yeah,
was
not that
that.
yeah, no, no, not that you don't adhere to the, you know, the
No,
law
I would
law-abided speed limits.
I would never go over the speed limit ever, but bring it back to WRC. Has anybody ever been done for speeding on public roads as
Yes,
a WRC driver? Is that a
yes.
regular thing?
It's easily done probably, but they are fined and penalised for driving like knobs on public roads and things like that.
And do the police increase presence around rallies, or is it just, these are the ones that got caught?
I don't know because the thing is, if I were a rozzer, if I were a pig, if I were a dirty pig,
Oink, oink.
oink oink, and I saw a rally car doing something cool, I'd be like, yeah, get on, crack on,
He's literally a world rally driver. He's in control of it.
crack on. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Um, and I do think that if you're seeing a cool car doing a cool thing, what are you, the fun police?
Yeah,
I mean, I know you are a police officer, but
yeah.
yeah, I'd
But
let
like,
them.
it's
But
it's
I'm
not the
also not in law
same.
enforcement, so
Yeah, but it's not the same as somebody in a Mustang trying to do a burnout outside Caffeine and Machine and stacking it into a Nissan Juke or something like that.
mm. Do you
I'd
like
be all
Nissan
right with it.
Jukes?
No, of course I don't like Nissan Jukes. No self-respecting car fan likes a Nissan Juke. See, when you're annoyed at somebody doing something stupid on the road, it's always a Juke or a
Always a
Qashqai.
Nissan Juke. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Don't get me wrong; they're probably great cars, but they're built for people who don't care about cars. They are the washing machine of cars. They're a white good.
They're a fridge.
Yeah, exactly. The Nissan fridge. That's exactly what it is. Imagine buying a Bosch fridge, but it's actually got a Nissan logo on it or something. That's how I view that. And that's
Well,
depressing
that's
because they
like
also make stuff like the
Citroen and
350.
Peugeot, isn't it? Where they share the same body, but they've rebadged it, you fool.
But the Peugeot makes it look cooler. It's much more
I think
interesting than the
Peugeot look
Citroen.
quite cool these days.
They do. They do
They
make it
had an
look really
era in
cool.
the 2010s of being a bit dreary.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. They were a bit rounded and
Mm.
how
Peugeot had a rally presence at one point, with the 206 and
I love the 205 and stuff like that as well. That's
beautiful
my
piece of kit.
childhood. The
Yeah,
205 T16, the Group B car. Like,
yeah.
I know that
And then
kind
they
of
just
stuff.
decided to just serve pensioners with
That's
retirement
it, isn't
cars
it?
and
Those modern
I mean, we've
Peugeots.
seen the Top Gear skit, haven't we? We've all seen the Top Gear skit.
I've seen so many Top Gear skits, I can't remember that one. Is this the one
Jeremy
where
and
they're
James
deliberately
driving like
yeah,
Peugeot drivers and just being,
yeah.
like maniac,
Yeah, but
driving and revving it bollocks off in second gear and things like that.
do you not remember when Citroens were interesting as well, though? When they had, like, cool suspension and stuff like that, and they were shaped purely like a cheese wedge. Like, that
Oh,
was
do
a
you remember
cool
the arse
Citroen.
on a C4 or a Renault Megane?
Oh, those were the days. But even
Yeah.
before that, like, 80s Citroens, they were really interesting. They were
Oh,
often
80 Citroens
terrible.
were so weird.
Yeah, but they were terrible, but they were really interesting, and I like an
Yeah.
interesting car, even if it's bad. And that's where
Well,
the
yeah.
Duke and the Qashqai fall down because, like, Nissan don't do interesting things now. Granted, there's
What
probably
did
an interesting car in there, but the majority of their stuff, not interesting.
what did I see yesterday? It's an electric car brand. Is it called an Emery or something like that?
What is that? Never heard of that.
It was a box on wheels, but it was like an Emery something.
I've
Hold
never
on.
heard of that. I've
Maybe
just
I'm talking
Googled it and
bollocks.
it's come up with a Mira, and that's a
Yeah,
Lotus.
no. Um, not gonna find that out. If I put boring electric car brands, is that gonna bring it up?
I mean,
No.
it's gonna produce Chery. There's that one. Chery
What's
that they
that one?
can't Cherry, Chery, because they can't spell cherry, so they've dropped an R from cherry.
Maybe that was it. What's it? A cherry what?
I have no idea. The
Tiggo.
Was that it? The
Yes,
Cherry
a
Tiggle?
cherry Tiggo, which sounds quite like a slur.
I mean, I'm looking at it and I don't
Tiggo
know,
8 Pro Max. Come on, what we
that was a
doing?
phone. I mean,
It is as a phone, isn't it?
is that what they've called it?
The Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro Max.
Wow, they have. So they've named it after iPhones. They really are
They
going
have.
down it's just a utility route. It looks fine. It's a car.
It's a white good.
It is a white
Well, it's
good.
not, it's
And
quite bad. Not white, it's not quite white good, it's quite bad.
I think that's my problem with a lot of modern cars is they have just become pure utilities with nothing interesting.
So boring. A
And
Moda,
everybody
that's another one.
I'm looking at the Nissan website right now, by the way, to try and think, well, do they make something interesting? And the most interesting thing that they make is the all new electric Nissan Micra, which is actually
Mm.
just a Renault 5, but with some stickers over the headlights. It's the same
Yeah, and
car.
if the Micra is your most exciting piece of kit,
Yeah, that's the
you're in
thing.
trouble.
Because they don't do a sports car anymore, looking at it. There's no 350, 370Z,
No,
there's the GTR's gone.
gone.
So your choice is a Duke, a Leaf, a Qashqai, an X-Trail. You notice how we're getting into they're all just crossovers as well.
They
Duke,
are
Qashqai,
all
X-Trail.
they're all just getting massive. I, feel comparatively quite small in my Fabia compared to most cars on the road these days.
Feel that in the Polo as well. It's like it's not a bit. I just clicked on the Micra and it's giving me an error 404. So
Good.
website's great as well. So
JQ.
JQ, yeah, they've got a garage down the road, the JQ. They kind of remind me of old Deus, which I think became
Yeah, and
Chevrolets.
there's a new garage near me, and I've never heard of it before, and it used to be a Skoda garage, but now it sells some random where are we? This is a this is proper taking a turn.
Honestly,
Geely.
Geely. Oh yeah, I've heard of Geely.
What the bloody hell is a Geely?
I think they've actually been around a while. I love this. You're gonna love this. I'm on their Wikipedia. Geely was founded in 1986 as a refrigerator parts company. Geely White Goods,
Lit
and
oh,
now they make
yeah,
cars. Which, to
yeah.
be fair, is what a lot of car companies started. Geely do work with Volvo. That was it, and Polestar. They're part of that kind of
Really?
collaboration.
So is
Yeah,
it all bloody,
Polestar is partly owned by Geely Volvo.
what's it called? The whole sort of thing that Hyundai and that belong to now.
Oh yeah, what group are they part of?
It's
I can't
yeah,
remember.
hold on. I was
So
literally dealing with this earlier.
Geely own Proton, which we don't really have
Stellantis.
in the UK. Stellantis, that's it. Do
There
we
we
need to
go.
do the Smith and Sniff noise, or do we just let that go?
We let that go.
Cool.
What that's a podcast that's, on a better trajectory than ours.
I think we're doing all right. If you're listening to this, write in and let us know how we're doing.
This is a rally podcast where we've talked about F1 and shit electric SUVs.
Yeah, but you know what? The best podcasts are when the guests are just rambling and having fun. So, I mean, if you want to bring it back to rally, we've got about 4 minutes to wrap it up. And how do we get Geely into the World Rally Championship? Is your
Is
segue.
that a statement of intent or a question?
It's more of a statement of intent, really. If we want to round off rally, I think the rally thing is kind of like the road car problem in that it should be a lot more interesting than it is, and for some reason, often isn't. And I don't know why that is with World Rally
See,
because
I love rally.
I watch these clips and
However,
like they're spectacular. Why am I not interested?
when there are 22, sometimes 24 stages per rally, it's very hard to watch every single one. It will take up your entire weekend. You know, an F1 race, you're in and out in 90 minutes. If you watch the analysis, 2, maybe 3 hours. But rally, if you want to see every single stage, it is a full commitment because there's just so many stages
And what
and
about
they
the
all
number of
matter as
actual
well.
rallies? Because there's now 14 rallies according
Mm,
to this calendar. That feels like quite a lot. I don't have numbers, but I was thinking in my head it's 78 rallies per year.
mm. Yeah,
So we
it's been creeping up and we've been getting new ones, you know, like Saudi Arabia and things like that. So
Mhm.
it's creeping up and, you know, it's one of those where drivers are already saying it's, you know, it's quite a lot. Um, but when you've got F1 doing 24, 14 seems quite easy in comparison, but
It does, but are the events not? Oh no, they're not slightly longer, are they? They generally are 3-day events, aren't they? Maybe four if you
sometimes
tack
they
on.
dribble into 4 Thursday.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot, but that's the way motorsport is going with bigger calendars nowadays, especially on the world stages, where I guess they're wanting to just extract more money and make it more valuable by putting more events in. So
Mm.
I don't know.
I mean, we
I
didn't even get into the points got point scoring system of the rally,
That's a whole
which
discussion
is
another time.
a very complicated thing that is, yeah, an entire episode on in itself. We should probably do a rally follow up that's actually a bit more um, distilled.
Probably should. I think we're still deciding the format of this podcast, aren't we? Because we do seem to ramble a lot, but it's also good when we ramble because it's decent chat, which is hopefully what people like. Who knows?
Hopefully, I mean, this has been nonsense. Do
I
you
mean,
feel like you've learned anything about rally? Because if you haven't, then Christ knows nobody else listening has.
I wouldn't say I've learnt more about it, but I'm more interested in it. Is that not a good thing? Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
talking
that's
about it, I'm like, I really should actually put more effort into watching it
mm,
because when I watched the clips of Monte Carlo in Kenya, I really liked it. And it
mhm.
appears that as of today, Croatia rally is actually starting as of time of recording. That's a
It's a lovely
tarmac rally.
tangent that I was just about to make myself. So it is Rally Croatia at the moment. How, Dave, can people keep up with it?
So this is one that I put a lot of work into because it doesn't work like normal race schedules. Stages are a little bit different, but every stage time, scheduled start time is actually in the racing line for WRC, ERC, and American and Canadian rally as well. Hopefully, I had British this year. But yeah, I've got the stage start times in there. Well aware that I can't stream it because we've got Rally TV, which does most of the streaming. But if you just need a very quick and easy calendar of what stages are when on every rally this year, it's in the racing line, just like everything else.
Well, there you go. We'll leave that very, very heavily focused rally episode there. Um, yeah, we've plugged your app. What else do we need to do? My magazine's coming out if you want
You're
it.
terrible at plugging your magazine.
No, 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 no. Issue
Imagine if
3.
you put effort into marketing, man. Imagine that.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't want to be a marketer. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're a single person company. You've got to market, and you know, you've got issue 3 coming out. You've got a world rally driver on the cover, Monte
Yes,
Carlo winner with
yes,
Monster, and it was filmed in
yes.
Sweden. Is that right? And all the photos were taken in
Correct,
Sweden. They've got an
correct.
article inside. Is that right?
Yes, also
And you've
correct,
got Fat Ice involved in it as well in issue 3.
correct.
Issue 3 is a good issue. So if you listen to this, buy issue 3. And I
Please.
believe you've still got some of issue 2 left as well, so buy issue 2 as well. They are brilliant magazines because they're not just silly little glossy mags that will get thrown away. They're not TV guides or anything like that. They are nice things to sit on the coffee table and enjoy. They are an experience. There you go. That's how you sell it, man. It's
That's
good
good.
because
Yeah,
that's what it
speaking of
is.
which, I
You're
had
not
someone
selling a
send me
magazine, you're selling a vibe.
I'm selling a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I had a man send me a reel and say, "Look at what magazine's on this coffee table," and it's this influencer with million followers, and at the very end of their video, there's, issue 2 on their coffee table.
I think did you put that one in your story on
I
Instagram? I think
did.
I've seen that.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
brilliant. That is
Very cool.
exactly the feeling that you are selling.
Mm,
It's like you're selling quality time to sit on your couch and read something really nice and enjoyable. It's
mm.
something that I take time out of my day to actually enjoy. It's not like I read a news article on BBC and then go past it. It's like I want to actually sit and spend time reading Slicks, and that's what I do, and that's what you're selling. It's not a magazine, it's a feeling and it's a lifestyle.
To quote an AI bot, "It's more than just a magazine.
Yeah,
It's a way of life."
I can almost hear the emoji there.
Yeah, and did you hear the M dash?
Yeah, yeah, it was in there. It's not just a magazine, M dash. It's a way of
Dash.
life.
Yeah. So we'll leave that there. Um, Very structured, rigid, and to the point. Succinct, I would say, is that episode. So,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, yeah. That's why people
thank you
listen
for
to us. Pure information, no waffle.
thank you very much, Dave. I will catch you in the next one.
Go, see you in the next one, man.
Bye.